damage pattern looks like, or basically where someone of Mr. O'Keefe's height's arm would contact the rear tail light.
And also the family of the perpetrator. Going forward, we Mogans are choosing to put our energy and focus into honoring Maddie's too short life.
I mean, like you can't remember my name, I don't remember.
What is no big deal to us is a big deal to these litigants, right?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Catch Up Court. I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood Catch Up man, and we are back for another episode of Source and Order. Listen, it has been a long week, and I'm so glad to be seeing all of you guys here for another episode. Now, for those that don't know about this particular show, we normally meet up here and hang out every week from 4 p.m. Eastern time. I know at the moment it's 5 p.m. because of spring. The weather is changing. Well, not spring, sorry, autumn. The weather is changing and it's getting colder. And of course, we have already fall back early here in the UK because we start at 9 p.m. Here in the UK. But it's still transitioning over there in the stateside or wherever you are at. So might be a little bit of difference in the times that we're starting. But even though today is 5 p.m., it is usually 4 p.m. Eastern time that we normally go live. So anyway, enough talk about the weather because it's always interesting conversations to have about the weather, right? But yeah, like I was saying, we usually stream trials that I have been unable to cover, as you have seen on my ongoing recaps. I do that especially with the recent coverage of the Daisy Link trial, where I've been doing ongoing recaps of that particular case. So we pick a case to go and deep dive under the hood and kind of explore what's going on in that particular case on this weekly show. So the last 3 episodes we've done that for Jeffrey Spence's trial as well as Lawrence Doherty. And on this week, well, not this week, but on the episodes going, where we are covering the Monica Sementilli trial, it's relatively long because I think it lasted for 37 days. We started covering it on episode 4, I believe, 3, and we are now up onto week 3 recap. But before I go, we're now on to week 3, I should say. But before I do continue on and go into the Monica Sementilli trial, I do want to say that it's still a relatively new show, so I'm still getting I'm still learning I'm still pushing out a lot of the ideas that I want to implement early on. And like I always recommend you guys do, or encourage, I should say, encourage that you guys do when is to suggest a case. But every month I also want to have you guys vote on a particular case that I've found myself and decide what the next case should be for the future coverage after a particular coverage. So like I said, we are covering the Monica Sementilli case so far. So in regards to the next case that I do want to cover, that I have at least considered for my docket, is the Massachusetts versus Ritchie case. I believe this is a very interesting case. I'm gonna have you guys vote on these cases, by the way. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna have you guys vote on which case you want me to take a deep dive on. But yeah, Massachusetts versus Christine Ritchie. It was difficult to find a picture because she says a name with someone that is well known. But yeah, but yeah, she is accused. I don't know the verdict at this moment, but I know that the verdict has been given. She is accused of killing her husband, who was a firefighter, I believe, and I believe the allegation was he had cheated before in the relationship and she just couldn't get over it. I think it was sometime in 2018. So if this case interests you, definitely vote for it. Is the MA versus Christine Ritchie case. Hi Brooklyn, welcome to the stream. I am so happy to see you. And shout out to all the lurkers as well. And also, if you're watching this back on replay, I'll put the timestamps down so that you can decide which parts you want to really catch up on. But we will start on the Monica Sementilli trial soon. I'm just giving you guys the cases that you might want to see future in the stream. So this is the MA versus Christian Ritchie case, and then I have the Natalie Cochran case, I should say, and this is a very it's a new case for me because I haven't seen anything like this. I have read about it in when I was researching other cases, when I was researching for the Monica Sementilli case, and this particular case, Natalie Cochran, I believe is in which I don't know what state WI belongs to. Well, escaping me at the moment, but she essentially was involved in a Ponzi scheme, and the husband found out about the Ponzi scheme, so she killed him, and she killed him for discovering and didn't want the crime that she was committing to go out. So she is on trial for that, and this, of course, the overt tone here is the concealment, killing for concealment, and I would really want to dig more into that. And yeah, so if this case interests you, I'll be very happy to take a look at it. I haven't watched any of these cases, by the way, so it'll be like a journey like this one, like the journey that we're on now with the Monica Sementilli case. And then we have this I believe is Christopher Berha case. I believe that's his name, but he says that he was hallucinating, or it's a tragic case because he says he was having visions of beating his girlfriend, and I thought that was pretty weird. So kind of caught my eye a bit. So if this case interests you, make sure you vote for it. And then we have the Melody Faris case, and the Melody Faris case, she was alleged to have burned her boyfriend. Again, I don't know this case in detail. Like, I don't know any of these cases in detail. Just the synopsis that was given. I don't know the law around any of these cases. So you guys might know. So I will put it into a poll, and then you guys decide what you guys want to do with it. Let me start the poll right now for you guys. Okay, let me add the options. So like I said, Melody Faris, this one is currently Melody Faris. Christopher Berhel, who had visions of killing his girlfriend. Natalie Cochran, who was running a Ponzi scheme, and killed the boyfriend because he found out. And finally, Christine Ritchie. So the poll is up now. Let me get you guys join in. Let me know which case that you want me to cover next, and I will definitely prepare and bring that out for the future streams. So I accidentally sorry. So the poll should be up now. Let me know. Okay, yeah, it's up and running. So yeah, that's all of it. So let's on top of this particular on top of announcing the poll, I will also be going into the final days of I believe it's the final days of the Julia Wandel trial. I didn't believe it was going to take this long. I thought it was going to be a speedy trial because it was a stalking trial, but it's still going on. It's the McCann stalking case. I'm going to be going through that at the end after going through Monica Sementilli and breaking down that trial. I'll be providing the key updates in regards to that because the individual that is claiming to be Madeleine McCann and was stalking the family as a result, that individual has decided to testify. So I'm gonna be providing key parts. If you don't know the background of this particular case, don't worry, I'll do a quick speed run, but we started covering it on episode 3. So I couldn't go to the court myself to see what was going on, so I found a website that I felt was reliable, so I thought I'd throw it in this segment rather than do update videos of it. Nonetheless, it is there, and we're gonna go through it later on the show. But let's go into the Monica Sementilli trial, because there is a lot that I want to. There is a lot in this particular trial that happened on week 3. So just to give a quick recap of what has been happening in the last 2 weeks that we've been covering. Let me just get my notes because I have been writing it down. So, oh gosh. I have been writing it down. So, Monica has, I believe it was in week 2. It came out that Monica had bought a Mustang, and we don't know how she had the money to buy this Mustang because all through week 1, Ryan Werner, who was the lead detective, has been giving testimony about how she was complaining about money troubles. And there were questions about this. There were questions to basically highlight that if she had brought up the fact that she had purchased a new Mustang, all those things, it didn't make sense because I was like, why are you asking these questions? And why is he saying no? And then we finally got to hear testimony of her actually having a Mustang by I forgot his name, but the gym instructor, I think Matthew Nurse, that's the one. So that was on week 2. We got to hear from Matthew Nurse about her having a Mustang, and we also got to hear a bit more. We also got to hear a little bit, not too much, but a little bit about the DVR that on week 1 again, that Ryan Werner was asked about this DVR that Monica had said that she had to replace. So those were the main things, those were the key information, I should say, from week 1 and week 2. We done previous streams on it. If you want to go back on it and dive into that, we went through more details there. But definitely on week 2, I'm going to be building on the cheating reasons why she possibly cheated. We went through that on week 2, and from that stream, I concluded a little bit that the reason why she may have cheated was because of relationship dissatisfaction. We went into studies going into why people cheat. And on today's show, we are going to be looking more, because from week 3, they went more into the insurance money. And they provided more testimony into why she would want the insurance money. And we're going to look at similar to last week, we are going to be updating and showing how we are going to be building on what was happening last week in regards to the studies that we went through in regards to why someone would cheat, but doing it in the context of gaining something afterwards. So when the motivations are met, basically. So this week we're going to focus a bit more in regards to the financial gain aspect that she was going through. But before, the witnesses that did testify for this particular week was Henry Meyer, James, who was the head of HR. Interesting testimony he gave. We're gonna go through that. James Duggan, who was the volunteer police officer. He also gave testimony. Jake Gibson's what was the director of forensics. His testimony is pertaining more to Baker. And then David Diaz was the VP sales of Coty. And he goes into a bit more history within Monica and Fabio. Then Marco Lorenti, who was Fabio's brother-in-law. Not gonna spend too much time on his testimony, but it was, well, partly because the stream really did cut out, so we didn't get much information from the direct exam. So I'm just gonna focus on the letter that he wrote, that he helped Monica write. And then Mirella Sementilli, who was Fabio's sister, he gave more context to the relationship, as well as Maury Eshbacher. Her name is difficult to pronounce, but she was the forensic accountant. Very, very important testimonies, and I'm gonna go into why they're important. But let's start. But before I do go into that, I want to start with the article that we did preview. On the I believe we previewed that when it was Luigi's testimony in regards to the financial gain, but we didn't really go into it too much. Brooklyn asked the question, do I practice law? I want to. I'm building towards it. I'm kind of working towards it. But it is a goal to go into that area. But I have a very keen interest in law. But yeah, so I don't practice it. But I have a very, very keen interest in it. I believe I have a good knowledge of how it all works, but I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes. I always err on the side of caution though. Because I don't want to speak in absolutes, especially when I don't have the license to go for it. So I try to get as much supporting information as possible to not really, to kind of just hold myself accountable, if I can say it like that. But yeah, no, I don't practice law. I don't practice law, Brooklyn. But yeah, I appreciate the question. So we went through this article previously, and it was by The Conversation, which was why some people in nonviolent relationships kill their partners. It was a 2018 article. And this part, I did say I'm going to go back into it because they were giving figures and I didn't understand what context that they were in. But apparently stranger deaths were more common. I don't know. I don't know. But basically, this is in regards to women actually doing the killing. So women actually doing the killing. And this case is very different. So I'm gonna try and fill this context in and try and bring in something that's could be similar, because I still don't know a lot of information about the case. I'm still learning as I go along. So as I continue to learn, I'm going to be able to ask more pertinent questions to find the exact research that would be needed to answer the question. So I'm going to, but for this particular study, I wanted to know what the gain part was, and I did dive into what the gain part was in the study. So let me just go into that. I don't think I opened it up. Damn, I don't think I opened it up. Okay, I believe, is it here? I apologize. Let me open up the file. I forgot to open it up. All right. I believe it's here. All right. Bear with me, guys. I do apologize for this. But yeah, shout out to everyone that are actually here and all lurking. Let me know how you're feeling in the chat. It'll be nice to talk with you guys. Okay, so let's go into the gain part, because this is from the 7 Deadly Sins article that the conversation was quoting from it, and he basically says the primary reason for the homicide. I'm not sure if you can see that properly. Let me just make sure you can see that. He says that the primary reason for the homicide. Zoom in a little bit. The primary reason for the homicide was to require an personal and tangible gain. This does not refer to the satisfaction of personal psychological needs, which are mostly fulfilled through other motives such as revenge. So I had to highlight that because it's making a distinction between personal psychological needs and financial and other needs that might need to be to be met. So from that understanding, I'm getting the idea that there is probably a spectrum within the gain needs, within someone's needs being met. So the victim was killed because they had something that the offender wanted, such as property. So that's what counts as gain in this particular study, as it's been defined. So the revenge part, that would be in regards to the MA versus Christine Ritchie case. So that would be more for the revenge. Like I mentioned earlier, like we're gonna go into that, but from what I read in synopsis with that case, that would be for that would be for personal gain, which is very different from this kind of gain, which is which the personal gain would be, I got my revenge, I feel better now, whatsoever, you know. But this one would be, I got his property, I got his money, I feel better now. It says here, furthermore, a relationship with another person may be gained by eliminating a third party. However, this must clearly be from a position of envy rather than jealousy. Jealousy cases, I didn't really read too much into it because I haven't found any cases that was in regards to jealousy. But that differentiation is key because I really want to see if this is going to develop in the trial, if we are going to see anything that shows that Monica actually envied Fabio in any way. I really want to see that because I have always wondered why she would pick Baker, but I've also wondered, especially when we went through, we didn't go into too much detail from the study that we went through on episode 4, but it did mention mating selection. So I want to see whether it was because if she wanted to start a new life with Baker, then I doubt it'll be envy. You understand what I'm trying to say? So the gain, based on that, the gain part would be more of she did this and the byproduct of getting the insurance money just made her happy. So it wasn't as if she went out and, you know, did what she did because she wanted the money, but rather it will be because she just wanted to move on to the next guy, and it just so turns out that she got money and they could start a new life together. So that's, I mean, you can also have both, definitely, but I would feel like for example, gain should also be conceptualized as the offender gaining by stopping something such as blackmail or eliminating the need to repay a debt, avoiding divorce and a subsequent settlement and child support. So if she didn't want to go through a divorce and get a new partner, but she did find a partner, for example, and she just wanted to go through that way and get the most money from it, then yeah, I guess it will fall under trying to move up. So based on that, I'm thinking in my head that I'm thinking that they make that, because she also said to Matthew Nurse that she didn't want to throw away 20 years of marriage. So that could maybe be the reason why she wanted to go through with the killing, because we're gonna hear testimony later on from Marie Ebershaw, where I believe the prosecution were doing this, were showing a side by side of what she would have earned in the event of the divorce in the event of the divorce, and what they would have, and what she earns in the event of the death. I'm going back to the opening statements where the prosecution actually did say and theorized that she wanted Baker but couldn't divorce and sought to kill so that she can keep her lifestyle and keep her new boyfriend without a pushback from the family if Fabio had died. So I want to see how they deliver on that, because that is a lot of other psychological factors that we can dive into to try and understand what's going on. So revenge was one of the reasons outside of gain. We went, which was feelings of anger and possessiveness, goes back to the Monica Ritchie trial, and concealment when homicide is committed in order to conceal another crime has occurred. So that's in regards to the Nathalie Cochran trial. So like we talked about earlier. Now, I wanted to highlight another one, which was killing for the thrill. And it's not relevant here, but it will be interesting to see if someone would try and commission a kill because they want to get some kind of thrill out of it. That would be weird. I haven't seen, but I highlighted just in case there is testimony that could expand more on this, and I want to figure out why someone would get someone else to kill somebody else, because there's nothing to say that Monica Sementilli did it herself. You know, there is nothing to actually suggest that. In fact, I don't think she was even home when all of these things were happening. So it was definitely Baker was the one that was convicted. I do know that part, but I don't know his background too much. So that was killing for the thrill. And then let's go into the stats in regards to how these people into how many people into the number of male and female, I should say, that kill that kill. So when it's a male victim, which is what we're looking for here, revenge is the main motive from female killing a male victim. Gain is the second motive, and then conviction or hate, which is which I, in my opinion, I didn't really understand how that could be, because it's just flat out hatred for the person. So I just want to go through that really quickly. Now let's go into the complaints and harassment about the life insurance that was made with Monica Sementilli. So if you are enjoying this stream so far, make sure that you hit that like button. It will really help us out with the YouTube algorithm, and also share this stream as well. If you like dissection like this, if you like to see some, if you like somebody looking under the hood in cases like this. So anyway, let's move on to the testimony by Henry Mayer. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because he didn't really offer much. He did offer a lot, but it was just providing background on how he got to know Fabio Sementilli. So what we're going to go into is where he gave testimony in regards to the income that Monica was actually receiving when she was making these calls to say that she was destitute, that she needs the money, that the insurance was not paying her, etc. That she was harassing. The words he used was that he was harassing them, that she was harassing them for the insurance payout. So let's go and watch that testimony where he speaks of the harassment.
Ability for the life insurance portion complete.
Yes, I couldn't do anything more because it's through the insurer and Monica.
Which is the third party.
Correct.
Okay.
MetLife.
MetLife. Yet you continue to receive communications from this check.
I did.
regarding why it was taking so long to pay out the life insurance.
I did. I explained again that it's a independent third party. It's not part of us. We have no influence on them, and it's a policy matter. I'll probably use nicer words than that.
And after collecting, as you said, all the information from the defendant and handing it over or sending it to Ms. Rakovich in New York, and she then processing the claim and sending it to MetLife, did you also receive various calls and complaints from the defendant?
I did.
Okay. Can you describe that?
Again, it came. It was about the speed of payments and responsiveness. You know, it started off very nice and pleasant, and but I would say it ramped up. They got more aggressive. I think I used the word harassing me. I mean, she was hassling me, pushing very hard, and accusing me of somehow ignoring it or not processing it quick enough.
Yet you had done all the portion of the policy, whatever work you needed to do was out of your hands.
Yeah, and I'd explained the way the policy works, and I suppose I got irritated because of the nature of attacks on me when I thought, boy, I've done quite a lot for you and your family. So at some point you start thinking that way.
Okay. In other words, the fact that you had, along with other members of the leadership team, put into practice new policies to benefit her and her family.
Yeah, the main, I mean, the practical concern I understand you know, there's costs and challenges with losing your partner, but for the time being, at least until the end of June, it's as if nothing financially had happened because Fabio continued to receive his salary, which I'd set up until the end of June. So as a minimum, she had continuation of income.
Yet, as you said, the defendant began to harass and hassle you.
No, simply said I was ignoring, not responding, being too slow.
And none of that, in terms of the processing of the claim, was within your control. Is that what you're saying?
No, and of course my wish is to expedite it as soon as possible under the circumstances.
Did you explain to the defendant that it was up to the insurance company when they paid out the claim?
Overruled.
Did you explain to the defendant that the insurance company was going to require clearance from law enforcement before they paid out under these circumstances, meaning because Fabio had been murdered?
Same ruling.
Well, yes, and basically that is information that I believe Tracy had told me anyway, how the policy worked.
Okay, so let's go into, I want to see this because he says insurance company needed to give clearance for for payout, and he apparently this was communicated to Monica. Important. Okay, I know that's gonna become important later on. I have a feeling. So I'm noting it down as we go along. Like I have noted down previous one. So that is James. That is Henry Meyer, and James Duggan is the next witness, and he was the security guard that was working that day. I'm not gonna go into his particular testimony because it's kind of redundant. He just testified to just advising Monica to go and speak to individual like Henry Meyer, and to speak to Tracy, who we had on last week. Well, not had on, but who was giving testimony last week, and we went through her testimony. So James Duggan was the person that spoke that referred Monica to Tracy Lakovich, and she went through and broke down the benefits system and how it works at Coty, I believe. Yeah, so that was her role. That was essentially what was going on. So the next witness I want to focus on. So in regards to the complaints of the life insurance, we also heard from David Diaz, who was the VP of sales at Coty, and he testified to going to Sementilli's residence after the murder had occurred. But he also gave testimony about what was happening a week before it had essentially happened. But there was a testimony that he gave that I thought that was quite interesting. I'm gonna go to it, and the testimony that he basically said that Monica was inquiring about life insurance and just does not know how it works. Let's go into it and hear what he has to say.
I did on the living room couch.
While you're on the couch with the defendant, who's involved in the conversation?
At that point, I think it was just myself and her. I think of the group, I'd probably be the more well known because I'd known them for a longer period of time than others. So from what I recall, it was the two of us, and then other people hovered around the island. Other people came in, sat there for a while, moved away. Yes.
So he just gave context in regards to what happened when he was at the house, and I'm going through this a bit because we're gonna return back to his particular testimony, but that context is going to be very important later on for what he is testifying to in regards to how Monica was reacting that day and how their relationship was. So we're gonna revisit this testimony later on, but yeah, let's continue on listening to the context before he gives the testimony about Monica's inquiry to the life insurance.
You had a conversation with the defendant.
I did.
Can you explain what occurred during that conversation?
So she said, Dave, we're gonna need some help. I don't understand, the company stuff that Sal had, and insurance, stocks, and stuff like that. I don't know how we're going to survive financially.
Did she ask you about life insurance?
I believe it was life insurance that she said, because she definitely said the company insurance, because the company did have policy for executives and employees of, I think it was 2 times salary or something like that was available to us, and she was asking about the insurance and how, but she doesn't know the details about it or how to access it or who to talk to, and I said, well, Henry is the one that is going to look after pulling everything together, and that would include the stocks stock plan that Fabio was in within the company and the new Coty programs, as well.
So is it fair that she was expressing to you that she didn't know anything about?
Yes, and she was going to need help where to locate it.
One moment, I'm sorry. Overruled.
Let me rephrase that. Let me finish the question. Sorry, so we don't talk over each other for the court reporter. I guess my question is, did she, was she, based on what you just testified to, was it basically she was telling you she didn't understand how the insurance and all that worked?
Yes.
Okay.
It can be very complicated because there's so many different components to the company programs and what he signed up for.
Did she appear to think that he had, did she say to you that she knew about his life insurance and just didn't know how it worked?
Yeah, it was more that it didn't know how everything worked.
Okay.
And needed help to what all the things were.
And I want to know why she would do this, because we already heard testimony from Luigi Sementilli on week 2, where it seems that she did know how it works, because she had, I don't know the capacity or what Deborah Obed, what essentially the part that she plays in all this, but she was with her, and it seems like she understood quite well. The reason being, she was saying my precious, well, not really saying my precious, but she was just rubbing the forms that they were having. She said, she was like, oh, look at all of these zeros. So all of this testimony is around the time of the 19th and the 21st of March 2017. So with that in mind, what has changed from Luigi Sementilli's testimony, which was in that week of the murder? What had actually changed that would make Monica go onto the 19th or the 21st, which was around this same time that she was inquiring about all of this and calling the company. All of the previous testimony from Henry Meyer, all of those things, like I'm from James Dugan, I did forgot to say that earlier, but the calls were happening from the 19th to the 21st of March 2017. So where did this U-turn come from? I hope we get to learn in the coming weeks what prompted her to start behaving like this, because we do know from the lead detective that her and Baker were seeing each other and they were getting romantically closer with one another from week one's testimony of Detective Ryan Werner, and I believe that was around the time of February. So around the time of February, she was going to clubs and was with him. I believe there was talk about bouncers at a club, etc. But that's what I could remember from from the week one testimony. So when we go now to week two, we get to hear about the Mustang that she purchased and her taking trips to Vegas. I believe this was around that time of March as well. So what is going on here? Did she run out of money and then she wanted to speed up these things? I have no idea, but I hope it gets explained soon.
All right, and then what happened?
I had said to her that, we have somebody here, Henry, he will pull all that stuff together for you. I don't know what the details are specifically. I know the different elements, but I don't know what Fabio had. But it's Henry's role, and when he's ready, he will come back and walk you through everything.
Now, this being the day after the murder that occurred, did you ever go out on the patio where Fabio had been killed?
Yes. So at one point in that afternoon, Monica wanted to go have a smoke, and that would have been taking us out to the patio.
Did she show you the actual location?
Yes, she said, and here's where they killed Fabio.
Okay, and was there anything that you noticed about that location?
I mean, all the furniture was set back where it normally is. I really struggled being there. I tried not to look at his chair. Because to me it was a very uncomfortable place to be and very, to me, odd. I didn't want to be there. In there was fine inside the house. I didn't want to be on the patio and be sitting across from where he would normally sit.
So the day after the murder, when she's showing you a chair where Fabio had been murdered, was she crying?
She was talking in chopped words, heavy breathing.
See any tears?
No.
That chair, was there anything on the chair?
I don't recall there being anything on the chair that day. It was just an empty chair.
Okay, so that's what I want from that, because he does go on to confirm that he did speak with Detective Parshall, and Detective Parshall basically just Detective Parshall basically informed him that he would need to sign off on the life insurance, and I believe it was based on the outcome of the case, basically. So that was what we were hearing on week 2. That's what we're gonna hear more when we go into the forensic accountant, the forensic accountant's testimony. So I want to go into the next witness that I want to go into is Marco Lorenti's testimony. I'm not gonna spend any time on it because, like I said before, we did not know at all. Like, we didn't see his direct examination at all due to the stream difficulties. But he did help Monica. He did help Monica draft the letter that was needed for the insurance payout, and the letter was basically as follows. So he says it's now been a little over 4 months since you commenced your investigation. So the investigation started on the 23rd of January 2017. Since you commenced your investigation into Fabio's death, which I fully understand is both lengthy and complex undertaking. As you know, Fabio was the sole wage earner in our family, and with his death, I was left with having to pay the ongoing living expenses for both myself and our 2 teenage daughters. Fabio's employer has continued to pay me his monthly salary, but this kindness is limited to 3 months to bridge the gap until the insurance company processes my claim to proceeds of his life insurance policy. These payments will terminate on May 31st, 2017. So we did get to hear testimony about that. I believe it was we got to hear it from Henry Meyer, who did testify to the expenses being paid, the family being taken care of during the whole bereavement period. He testified also in regards to not just the family being taken care of, but also the funeral expenses, to basically show that this is what the company does for families who are going through difficult times. So that is, I'm guessing, the context that is given in regards to the monthly salary being paid. Theory time, I'm kind of assuming that maybe this is how she was able to purchase the Mustang. I know I'm probably already wrong. So if someone knows, let me know in the chat if I'm on the ball with that theory. If you've been watching this trial, if you have already seen the trial, let me know if I'm on the ball with that theory. But I have a feeling, because I believe we got to hear testimony from Tracy Rakovich, who testified that the yearly wage that Fabio was earning, it would have earned 60 times that amount in the event of his death, which would result into $222,000 or something like that. That's the amount that apparently he stood to make in his salary in the event of his death, if my memory is serving well. So that was in regards to Tracy Rakovich's testimony. Let me just quickly go into my notes and just see. So I believe that's what he said. So yeah, I was right. Yeah, 60 times that amount. And she also went through is how his life, not life insurance, but his 401k, how that will be paid out as well. But anyway, we went through all of that on the previous stream. You can go check it out. So let me go into the next witness, because the next witness, Marie Ebersbacher, can't say the name properly, but she essentially gave testimony in regards to she was the forensic accountant, and her testimony was pretty. Well, it does make up the thumbnail, but she basically analyzed the divorce payments. She basically analyzed what Monica was entitled to in the death of Fabio, and also what she would have got if they had gone for a divorce. Let's go and watch.
If there were to be a divorce, this would be characterized as community property.
That's right.
And so therefore each spouse would get 50%.
That's correct. Typically, one spouse buys out the other. It's very common where one spouse stays and then buys out the other, and the other spouse buys a different residence.
She did testify later on that this was her first murder case. I believe it came up in the redirect. So she did testify that this was her first murder case. She normally handles divorce cases. So her testimony is very key here, because seeing it in a divorce context kind of sells or gives you the firm idea why somebody would go through and seek the murder out rather than going through a divorce. So that is delivering, at least that is probably their what the position for would be the best way to deliver their promise that they made in the opening statements, which was that she wanted Baker but couldn't divorce and sought to kill instead to keep her lifestyle going. So that's I want to see how they show that she actually did want Baker and she did actually want to start a life with Baker, because then we have a situation where it wasn't envy but more of a dual psychological meaning, where she wanted a new mate and she did what she did to move on to that new mate. So basically profiled and wanted to replace the spouse. I'm going to revisit the previous study once I have more information to try and bridge the gap on how this leads to on how it may have led to a killing. But let's continue.
In this particular case, the defendant already received 50%, correct?
That's my understanding of the sales proceeds.
Okay. However, if she were to be found not guilty, then she'll also wind up getting the other half from Fabio's estate. She'll get the full amount, correct?
That's my understanding.
So on in death, we're talking about an amount of $337,951.
Correct.
And so the difference between what she would get in divorce versus what she would get if Fabio was dead is approximately $119,600.
That's right.
Now let's look down the column starting on line 10 where it says other assets. Let's look at what you have beneath that. Can you walk us through? The first one we see on line 11 is a 401k that was being managed through Charles Schwab as of December 31st of 2018.
Yes, so that was the, as it says, Cody 401k, and the amount was $30,492. In a divorce situation, Ms. Sementilli would have received 50%. That's the $15,246. Because Mr. Sementilli passed away, she will receive or would receive $30,492. So the difference is the 50%, $15,246.
Yeah. And let's look at the next line, line 12. He had some Cody restricted stock units.
That's correct. Same situation. This is the $4,000 that we talked about earlier. It's $3,995. We assumed that they were 100% vested at the time of either divorce or death. And so 50% would be received if in a divorce situation, 100% is received upon death.
For, again, a difference between the divorce versus death of $1,998, approximately $2,000, right?
Correct.
A $2,000 benefit by Fabio dying.
Right.
Okay.
So they're gonna go and expound more on this and break it down more. But the main point I wanted to get down on that is because I wanted to show two things. So I wanted to show how I wanted to go into how the prosecution are delivering on that promise of the opening statements, because I believe that they're gonna build into now what I'm anticipating or thinking that week 4 is going to be like. They're gonna build and now present more of the relationship with Baker, but I really don't know. They might produce some more financials and some more communications to show maybe more antics to try and get this money. So based on the information that I have, I can only assume that she wanted this killing done because, of course, she wanted to, based on the opening statements, that she wanted to start a new life with this guy. Very similar to the Karina Cooper trial, but there is but I did find a study miraculously, because I didn't actually expect to find this study. But is in regards to, let me try. Oh gosh, did I lose it again? Okay, I found it. All right. So this study is it is titled I Know a Guy in Jersey, an analysis of spouses who hire amateur hitmen to kill their wives and husbands. Now, of course, there was no hitman hired here, but I'm trying to see the similarities because this is somebody going to hire somebody else to do it. When I got to know more about Baker's relationship, I can ask the question of maybe someone trying to tempt the spouse to try and be in a where someone try to tempt the cheater to basically, the affair partner anyway, to basically commit a murder for someone else. But I felt like this study was a bit closer. To at least try to understand why someone would go out and get a would go out and try and sort killing, or try to hire a hitman to kill their spouse. So of course, this is more in the Donna Ellison territory, but it was very interesting what I found. And the primary motive for hiring a hitman, of course, like I said, is not relevant because no hitman was hired. But for someone to go that far, they didn't want to do it themselves, because we went through articles to where the wife did it themselves. But this one is a scenario where they didn't want to do it themselves. When I have a bit more information, I will try and bridge it to the relationship with Baker, because from there I can maybe see what studies are saying about it, because I don't have enough to basically ask the right questions, which would be, oh, how does a relationship turn into a situation where the lover, there's no study that works like that, so this is the closest one I could find. Life insurance, according to the study, women, this is the main reason, or the most popular reason, why they would hire a hitman to kill their spouse. So life insurance is one of the reasons. Anger towards the spouse, the men actually dominate this one. So this was 25%, but in the context of this one, in the context of this trial, and because there was more women than men, it was 23%. To avoid the cost of a divorce, men would go out and hire a hitman for this purpose more often. So they would do it So in this case, men would actually go out and hire a hitman because they didn't want to go through the trouble of a divorce. They rather just go through and get the job done. Child custody was where women would hire a hitman to try and get child custody, but I highlighted this one in red because I believe it's pertinent here, and that was they'll hire a hitman to replace the lover. So in this particular case, we know that based on the opening statements that Baker was the one to have supposedly killed Fabio Sementilli with other men. So replacing spouse with a lover could be the reason, but according to the study, life insurance was the main reason. And they asked questions. What was the motive? What was the value of the policy? The value of the policy was up to 1 million. And I highlighted this because even though there were more people that killed for 100 to 200,000, 1 million fits this scenario, and it was 15 people. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting the drop off around this area, massive drop off. But when it goes to 1 million, suddenly there's a rise. I don't get that, but 15 people in the particular study, they had killed for 1 million. So in this case, the policy, I believe, was 3 million, where Monica stood to earn 984 million. So it's close to 1 million. It's more of in this territory, but it's close to 1 million. So I believe that's what it was, because the kids, Fabio Sementilli, Jessica, and Isabella, they had different payouts of their life insurance, and this is just insurance, so it's not inclusive of the benefits that they stood to receive and all those things, which Monica, we heard testimony about, was privy to. So there's also questions of who does the hiring. I don't think this part is really important, but I just want to go here for the Adelson adjacent, because apparently white women, the person doing the hiring is more of a white woman doing the hiring. So unintentionally, if we're looking for reasons why Charlie Ellison may have gone out to do the job that he did, it's likely that Donna may have put him up to it, because more women would look to actually hire the hitman than men. Interesting there. I just thought it's not relevant here, but I just thought that's interesting. And the person knowing the hitman apparently is an acquaintance and a friend, which is what Catherine McBurnell will fall into. But again, I'm digressing. It's not really important. I just thought I'd throw that in there because we did cover that case on here, and I didn't dive into it as well, I'm not gonna dive into it on another show, but because we've already covered it. But yeah, but I thought it's interesting to see that dynamic play out. To see, at least in terms of the motive part, to even get the hitman, not actually going through to get a hitman. The motive would be that 1 million would be a massive driver to get for someone to do the crime, to even have the thought, and it would be life insurance and replacing spouse with a lover. So to get that thought, to get to that moment, these two things seems pertinent. Well, at least in this scenario, replace spouse with a lover and life insurance. So let's move on to testimonies that gave a bit more context to the relationship with Baker. And the witness that we are going to go back to is the testimony from sorry about that, is a testimony from damn, hold on, did I lose it? I believe I lost it, my bad. is this testimony from, okay, my bad. But I'm going back to David Diaz's testimony. I closed down his testimony by mistake to go to Marco's testimony. But yeah, let's move on to David Diaz's testimony. And this was in regards to, his testimony is key because he's going to now give an account of what happened a week prior to the killing, when he had visited the Sementillis for lunch at their residence, which was at Queen Victoria. We know this, and he testifies that during this particular visit, on the 15th of January, Fabio had showed him a Porsche that he had purchased, and said that Monica was not happy because he didn't tell her. So let me try and find the timestamp. Let me try and find a timestamp for it. I think it's here. Do apologize. Hold up. Okay, so I cannot find the timestamp. Let's move on. That was the testimony that he gave. So he also gave testimony saying that Fabio, and this is very key because he says that Fabio had actually expressed a desire to return back to Canada. So we're getting the idea when he gave this testimony that the relationship was, I'm not going to say it was on the rocks because I don't have enough information for that to suggest that it was on the rocks, but it's kind of previewing that maybe it wasn't that well, because we heard testimony from week 2 where from week 2, I believe it was wasn't from Luigi, can't remember who, but we heard testimony that he was actually quite ecstatic to move and work in the North American division, and he wouldn't have gone through going into even moving. He wouldn't have even considered going to America without Monica's approval. So now he wants to go back. So there's a lot of tension here. I believe it was from Salvatore Muccieri. I believe it was from it, because I think he was the one that offered him the job. Either Salvatore or Sally Sean. But nonetheless, there was testimony around that, and it gave enough context, at least enough to give us the idea that he wanted to move to America and he wouldn't do it without Monica being happy. So he's not the type of person to be, we're doing this my way. He's more of a collaborative person, at least from what I'm getting. He's more of a collaborative person, and the fact that he has signaled that, well, we're hearing testimony from David Diaz that he was thinking of going back, seems like there might have been a lot of problems. Maybe we are going to learn more about those problems later on. So let's go into now the text messages that was given by and these text messages are really key to understanding the relationship dynamic between Monica and Robert Baker, and it was by forensic analyst on day 8, Jake Gibson, and he just basically testified that both Monica and Robert Baker were speaking on Viber a lot, which is an encrypted app. I don't know too much how it works, but they were speaking on WhatsApp and they were speaking on WhatsApp and calling each other on Viber a lot. So, but there was testimony that he gave in regards to the DVR that I do want to play, because we heard a lot about this DVR, and I know that this DVR is important because it would have captured what happened during the time that he died, because there are security systems all over the place. We have already heard that there are security systems. We heard from Ryan Werner that there are security systems on the entrance and exits of the house. And I believe some parts, I'm not too sure if it's inside the house. If my memory is kind of escaping me right now. But they had security systems, and the DVR would have captured what the assailants look like, what they may have, how Fabio may have died, etc. It would have provided them with a lot more eyes, but unfortunately they were not, well, I don't want to say they were not able to get that DVR footage, because I can't remember hearing too much about that. But with the amount of testimony about this DVR, it suggests that it has been tampered with and they were unable to recover the footage. So Jake testified to Monica forwarding emails about the DVR system to Diane Arbel. Let's take a listen to this testimony.
The DVR, as we discussed previously, that contains her user ID number, her password, and her IP address.
I don't know if that's her IP address. That's not going to be her. That's probably where, I don't know why the IP address is in there.
Okay.
That's probably for the publisher website.
Okay, let's say it is her IP address. Would that, again, be forwarding her information for her system, including her unique identifiers, to this individual, Diane Arbel?
Which actually leaving on overruled.
There's a user ID and password for that account. I actually had to read the fine print. If you read the fine print, after it says hello, you can watch your surveillance system remotely via Internet Explorer or Firefox. So actually reading it, if a person was able to enter that 104.181.138.147 on your web browser, it will take you to a website where if you enter that 111, or excuse me, user ID user, and then if you enter the password 111, you'll be able to access that live feed.
Okay.
Damn. So we got to hear so much testimony on Ryan Werner's testimony about whether Monica had told him that if this DVR was remote control. He said no, he never told him that. So now we get to hear that it was remote control and it could be accessed. So this opens up so many questions, so much questions, because now I really want to understand how much knowledge she had of this DVR system, because it's really building up to manual manipulation. And the fact that this was a forwarded email to the person, so Monica had full knowledge of this remote. I don't know who Diane Arbel is. I just escaped my head, but pretty sure I might. I will update that if I learn more as we go along. But he also, but moving on from that testimony, because that's all I wanted. That's pretty much all I wanted from that testimony. He showed communications between Monica and Baker's devices on the day of the homicide, but not just that. He also showed communications between Fabio as well on that day, which he was just messaging her. He was messaging her, "Hi babe, just got home," or on all those things. So maybe things were not all that bad. Maybe they resolved something, because we gotta remember, it's a long relationship. So I wanted to exercise caution by speculating that maybe he wanted to go back. Maybe the relationship was on the rocks. But based on that message, maybe things were patched up within that week. We don't know, but he did show pictures of hold on, let me try and get it there. I think so this was the activity on the day of the homicide, and like I said, he was sharing pictures, he was sharing messages between but the part I want to get to is here, and this was when the assailants, the suspects anyway, are running into the house. So that's the suspects that was captured running into the house, and that's all that we had. So they did capture somebody going into the house. They didn't see who. So that was and they went through the times that everyone went into the house. Is Isabella, Monica, as well as Monica at the store, etc. And that was basically it. So he went on to basically testify to the activity and communications by both Baker and Monica after the murder. So this is where it got interesting, because this was on May the 3rd, and this was on May the 3rd to May the 5th. So let me just go in here. This is the trips that I need. So let me start. So that was, hold up. So this is both, this is it, found the picture. This is both Robert and Monica on their trip to Vegas. And the timestamp there, as you can see, it was on May 6th. June 6th, 2017. So let's move on here. There was more pictures that were shown. Again, this is from, so they took, I'm guessing they took 2 trips. This is May 3rd, the 5th, 2017. I don't know who that big guy is, but of course Monica is seen here having a time of her life. It's likely that she wanted to start a new life with Baker. I don't know why. I will look more when we have more details. I'll look more into it on why she would make that choice to spend life with him, as long as I learn more about Baker and what the investigators have on him. So this was when they were at the at a lounge, I'm guessing. Don't know too much. They were seeing belly dancing shows, all of those things. Baker was getting a stripper and all of that. They were living it up with all the money that they were getting. We of course know that what was written on I forgot his name. We literally just went through it. Sorry about that. We literally just went through it, but based on what was written on that email that Monica had helped, had received help from Marco Lorenti, the salary payments would have expired in May, if that was to be believable, because I don't know what to believe right now. I have noticed so many inconsistencies in the stories, but yeah. So these were the Google searches that she was making. These were the Google searches, I believe. Hold up, let me just go back a little bit. Flipping heck. Hold on. These were the Google searches that she was making, and she was asking questions like which type of phones could be tapped. So that means that she had a suspicion that the that the FBI, sorry, not the FBI, that the investigators were watching them, and the police were onto them. So I don't know if there are wiretaps coming. I have no idea if that is going to come, because this is like Donna Ailson-esque kind of thing. But yeah, these are, I don't know who these people are. I think that's the big guy from before. That's Monica. Don't know who she is. Maybe it might become central later on. Don't know who she is. Looks very young. I don't think that's Isabella. I doubt it. But I believe this was created on the 6th of May 2017. So the maybe the first picture that we saw was that a trip? I don't think it was a trip. But anyway, that was in June. So maybe there were 2 trips that were taken. So let's okay, so that was there's more messages here. I didn't really note it. Because they were discussing financials, but that was his direct examination. We're now gonna go into his cross-examination, because there was an interesting thing that happened during his cross, and it was when Monica's more web history was presented by the defense for some reason. Maybe it's an own goal. I don't know why they did it, because it wasn't presented on the direct exam. So I don't know why the defense would present this information on their cross exam. But it was the search history of Monica Sementilli. So let me just try and find the timestamp for that search history, because I do want to focus on that for a minute, because this web searches was made around the time of the murder, and I thought that this was pretty interesting, an interesting point to highlight. I think even Monica knew that maybe this was a bad idea, but anyway, let's move on to show the search history that the defense was highlighting.
And we see here it starts at the top, January 25th, 2017, correct?
Correct.
And the UTC -8, that shows it's already been converted into LA time. That is LA time.
Correct.
And these logs go down to January 23rd, 2017, yeah?
Correct.
And here you see there is a web page that is logged. That says lifestylelounge.com. You see that?
Yes.
So that would show that at that time, on that day, 10/23/24, that device is accessing that web page, correct?
Correct.
And you see here, we have a few entries, right? 4:47. You see that?
Yes.
That's on the same day, January 23rd, correct?
Yeah, January 23rd.
And then within a few seconds each other, there's 4:47:42 seconds, 4:47:40 seconds, 4:47:40 seconds, 4:47:38 seconds. You see that?
Yes.
And these are, again, web pages being accessed in relation to lifestylelounge.com, right?
Correct.
All right, let's visit. Let's visit the site, the Lifestyle Lounge. The Lifestyle. Let's see what it says. It's a family-friendly show, so I'm not going to. Oh, okay, it's not found. I don't know. Oh wow, it says it's not found. So there is no such thing as a Lifestyle Lounge. Apparently, can't find it. The lifestylelounge.com. Anyway, let's move on. So these were the text messages that was web searches, I should say, that was being made on that day of the murder, and these were to a swingers website. So Monica was searching swingers websites on the day of the murder. Why was she doing this? I mean, could it be a weird coincidence that she just wanted to explore more people and she just wanted to be sexually promiscuous with different men? And just had no idea that Fabio was going to be killed? Perhaps, but we have seen their financials. Well, we've already seen the financials so far. Like, they are well off. So maybe that, the house is pretty rich. Like they earn quite a bit. So she would spend that extra money on swingers, I guess. Like, she would maybe be in those communities. I have no idea, but it just gives the idea that maybe this is how she met. Maybe this is how she met Robert Baker. Also, well, sorry, not met. They met at Racquetball, but what I'm trying to say is, this is how she was probably meeting other guys this way. That it wasn't just Robert Baker that she was seeing; it was other guys. So I can only guess that they brought out this evidence to try and say that she was not in cahoots with Robert Baker, because Robert Baker was just one of so many guys that she had on rotation. So I had to go back onto the opening statements that was made by the defense, and they theorized in their opening statements that Monica and Baker's relationship, it was weird and kinky, and they were having sex with other people, but not for the motive of murder. Blair Burke also theorized that Baker had wanted to leave her husband, but Monica was not happy with this and didn't want to leave. So Baker was the one to have wanted, that Baker was the one that was not happy that Monica didn't want to leave the husband, and he was the one to have wanted to leave the husband. Of course, we know that the case is over now, but it's over and she was found guilty. But I noticed this, and I guess this is the context, at least what I think, that's why they brought in that evidence to say that she was in a swinging relationship, because they were saying that Robert Baker was the controlling one and started stalking Monica. He was having sexual exploits with a woman called Robert McCulloch. So we're going to hear a bit more. We are likely going to hear a bit more testimony in regards to all of those things, all of those facts coming out. So the defense did present their case. So we are definitely going to hear what they have to say in defense of all of this. But it is very interesting that we're now reaching a crossroad where the jury might think, at least with this evidence, that the jury might think, oh, there might be truth to what they are saying, because she was in swingers websites, and it was around the time of the murder where supposedly Robert Baker was the one to do it. Interesting, and I thought it was interesting to highlight that. So let's go into the testimony from Mirella Sementilli, and we will end with her testimony. So she just gave testimony in regards to the day of learning Fabio's death, and it was quite. In all fairness, she broke down crying. It was actually quite sad. But she gave testimony in regards to what she learned about that day. But the part that about the day that Fabio had lost his life. But the part that I want to go into is where she testified about how Monica was reacting to all of this, and the mention of DVR. And I thought that this was a bit weird, because I want to try and give the benefit of the doubt in regards to what was meant, but it is weird overall to hear the testimony. Let's go in and watch.
Did you see the defendant?
Yes, we did.
And did you tell her beforehand that you were all coming?
Yes, we did.
All right. And what did she do when you came to the house that day on the 25th?
She looked very distraught. She was upset. She was
Did she?
holding Fabio's sweater, and she was just sobbing and sighing and exasperated. And
Okay. And did she take you on a tour to show you what she had seen in the house?
Hello.
yes, she did. She took us into the kitchen, and my sister, myself, and my daughter were there following her, and she was telling us that they used vinegar. Do you see? They used vinegar. Do you smell it? Can you still smell it? Why would they use vinegar? Was it to get rid of any DNA? Was it to get rid of DNA? And then she said, they didn't even use my knives. They didn't even use the knives. They were sitting right here. They didn't use my knives. And then she kept walking us around and showed us that there was blood stains and on the floor, but they're clean now. And then she mentioned they took her DVR because the monitor they had in the kitchen was black. So we were looking like we were on a tour, and then she's pointing, there's stains on the door here. I guess the insurance company is going to come and paint again and come and paint this. Then she took us into the bedroom.
And what did she do when are you talking about the master bedroom?
Yes, the master bedroom.
And what, if anything, did she point out or show you in the master bedroom?
She showed us some blood stains that were black now, and she said there was blood stains here. We were robbed, and they took money. They opened the safe.
She said they opened the safe?
Yes, they opened the safe. It's broken.
She said the safe was broken?
Broken. And then she started going through Fabio's jacket pockets, his suit pockets, saying that Fabio keeps money everywhere. He's got money everywhere. I don't get him. Now she's like angry, and she's going through his pockets and pulling out cash.
From the pockets?
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting testimony, because for so many reasons. I'll get into it, but I want to note down that safe, because for Beth Silverman to basically say from the safe, there's probably something there, but apparently robbed. Monica said they were robbed, and also they took money from the safe. Now, to go back to that reaction, I know that this is going to be important later on for some reason. She wouldn't highlight that, especially when we got to hear from Ryan Werner. I don't believe he said that there was safe missing, that there was jewelry or something missing. I have to revisit his testimony to kind of jog my mind. I will update when we go into the testimony next week, when we go back into week 4. So I'll have to go when we go into week 4. But based on what has come out, I mean, you can maybe infer that the reason why she was doing all of that is because she was in shock, yes. But I find it weird that she would say that they took the DVR, like that they took the DVR from the house, that they took it. So I thought that was weird. I should actually note that down, because I know that's gonna come up somewhere. But she told them that they took the DVR from the house. That's key. So that's one one aspect. And then you have also not just that, but I really have to cast my mind back to that jury testimony that was given to Ryan Werner, but I believe that's critical. But for her to say that they didn't even use my knives or all those things is right there. They didn't even use my knives. It sounds like a confession, as if they did plan to use the utensils there to try and frame her for it, so that at least it makes it look like the wife had killed him, or it was a robbery that's gone wrong or something like that. But I don't know. I don't want to speculate because I don't have the information yet. But she also gave important testimony in regards to her suggesting that they take extra measures, because of this whole ordeal, what basically happened, and what Monica had to say in regards to that. Let's go into that testimony now.
Okay, if you recall.
Sal Mosseri came, David Diaz came, and Henry Meyer.
Okay. Did you know all these people from Wella?
Yes, I did.
All right. And did they sit down with you and the defendant and others?
They had asked to speak to her privately and if they wanted us to leave the room, and she said everybody can leave the room except for Monica's sister and myself.
Okay. So you and her sister sat down with these gentlemen?
Yes.
And the defendant?
Yes.
And did they at that time go over some of the financial support that Fabio had put into place, including life insurance policies?
Yes, it was the first time I had seen them since the murder, and they had come over to tell Monica what Wella was prepared to do, and they had told her that he had life insurance and also something about indemnity, double indemnity, and that they were going to take care of Monica anywhere, like they're going to try for 6 months. There's anything you need. They were constantly reaching out if she needed anything. And that same day I said, maybe, there are 3 girls by themselves in the house. Maybe you can get a security guard or someone to help or replace the DVR or some security.
You said that?
Yes, I did.
Who did you say that to?
All 3 of them.
And what, if anything, did anybody respond?
I was stopped before I can even finish my sentence. Monica said, no, absolutely not. I'm fine. We're going to be fine.
And did she say anything else? Did you ask her if she was afraid at all of staying in this house alone, given that you were asking the gentlemen who were offering help for security?
Yes, that's why I assumed she was going to be scared because what had happened, and and they were out there.
And what did she say?
She said that they're not scared, no negativity in this house. Sementilli power, and she was just constantly coaching the kids that they were going to be fine in their home that their father built for them or bought for them or set up.
Sementilli power, is that something your brother used to say?
Yeah, he would say wonderful memes like that, like charge that mountain, you can do it.
Okay, so she says Sementilli power, and that's kind of weird for so many reasons, because you have to question the fact that, okay, she has just lost the husband. Your life would be in danger at this point. You would want to be, so you want to be safe. But at the same time, they took the DVR. And I guess you can argue that she is grieving, so she wants to put on a brave face and tries to, say, no, we need to stay strong. They can't win. But at the same time, you're saying that it was a robbery. So if it was a robbery, you would want to argue that they might want to come back because there's nothing to implicate them at all, knowing that they took the DVR, so they can plan another hit. Logically, anyway. But that was weird. And she did go on to give more testimony, saying that Monica says that they couldn't afford to live at the house. They could no longer afford to live at the house, that they wanted to stay there because, remember, she just gave testimony now in regards to, she just gave testimony now in regards to, no, we're not leaving. This is the we'll be fine in the house that your father built. So we got to hear testimony about her not being able to afford living in the house. Let's watch.
I knew of this prior because of my divorce as well. We know that that happens in Canada.
It's part of the law there, yes?
Yes.
You said that you were very concerned about the safety of Monica and the girls, and so you said that you were asking the individuals from Wella about a security guard. Did the defendant say anything to you about whether or not she wanted to move and get out of that house?
No, she had mentioned that she can't afford to stay in the house, so she had to remove the gardener, the pool people, a few different things that she had to rearrange, but eventually she would want to find something smaller, another house.
Did she tell you that she did not want to move?
Yeah, she didn't want to move from LA or the house, but she had no choice.
That's interesting. So she can't stay there because it's the upkeep that she can't afford, but not scared for her life. Okay.
And you said that the monitor, the DVR monitor on the counter was black. Did she tell you anything about why it was black?
No.
Did she tell you that the killers had taken their security system?
Yeah, she did.
Did Fabio ever mention to you his ability to monitor his home surveillance system remotely from his cell phone?
No.
Did the defendant ever mention that she had the ability to do that from her cell phone?
No.
So
while you were there,
so both Fabio and Monica never told her that they could monitor on the DVR system on the by remote
on January 29th of 2017.
So that's pretty much the bulk of the testimony that I wanted from that. Let's go into the next part, and this was when she and this was this there is two things I want from this, and it was when all of this was around the time. What I'm gonna show next was around the time that that they were, I believe they were having a wake or having kind of a get together in remembrance of Fabio, and they also got to see the neighbors' surveillance system. So it gets stranger because this is when she meets Baker.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I just wanted to say that I was shocked because she looked like she was done for the day, and then she popped back out again.
Showing you exhibit 45.
Behind the chair that he was murdered in. Yes.
That's what you see right here.
Yes.
And shortly after that, did you observe the two of them go somewhere?
Yes, I think Deborah was the one who asked them that we need to go inside, and then all four of us, Deborah, myself, Monica, and Baker, went through the kitchen door. We passed Monica's mother, Mena Crescentini, and as we're passing by, she was like standing there like a sergeant. And I'm still shocked not knowing what's going on, but he did stand out like a sore thumb because he wasn't a Wella person. So we don't know, or family. So we don't know what he was doing there, but
and where did they go once you guys came into the house? Where did they go?
So the four of us walked, followed basically Monica. She went into a dark living room, sat on the couch, and then Baker sat in front of her on an ottoman. And then I just found a spot to sit next to her on the right and Deb on the left. And with what Deb had said to me, that we got to get rid of this guy, everybody's looking, I whispered into Monica's ear, I go, who is this guy? Like, you know, everybody's looking at you, everybody's watching what's going on. in Italian because I didn't want to embarrass her or him or my brother. Like, this is embarrassing.
Why?
Well, she's acting like she's in her own little world, talking to some strange guy. I just didn't like that. It was very not right to be doing, disrespectful.
And that's, oh gosh, that's cold. Why would you? Oh, that's usually I try to keep my emotions out of this. Like when I'm watching this back, because I just purely want to see what facts come out. But that's cold. That's cold. Your husband has just died. At least keep the guy that you're having an affair with away from it. But if she invited him to the wake, that is cold. You were cheating on him, and on top of that, you brought him to the husband's funeral. That is insane. Could even let the body go in the ground. That's insane. People grieve in different ways, I get it, but that's weird. So, invites Baker to the wake, takes the pictures being taken of her and Baker. Everyone thought that it was embarrassing to, like, she thought this is embarrassing. So Baker is obviously probably even smelt as well. I'm not too sure. No one satisfied to this. Probably doesn't look like that guy that even fits or should even belong there. And Monica says that this is the coach from racquetball. So I guess people just, no one knew about the affair at this point, and they just assume, okay, it's a family friend. They've got Matthew Nurse, who I believe he said that, no, don't want to say it, I just forgot. I know he said he went out of town. He went out of town with his girlfriend, so I don't think, but I'm not sure if he said he attended. But I know Elise Boyol did attend, and they also were at racquetball. So maybe they were trying to think, okay, you know, it will be okay for Robert to come as well, because it will blend in, because they got all people from racquetball there. But it's insane, because you've been sleeping with this guy. You wouldn't just think that maybe not invite this one guy? That's insane. And it's actually interesting, because we just went back through the opening statements where we went through the defense theory, where they were actually theorizing that Robert Baker was the controlling one, and even began stalking Monica, and he was having sexual exploits with Laura McCulloch. Not only that Monica had wanted to leave her husband, that Baker wanted her to leave the husband, but Monica was not happy with this and didn't want to leave. So Baker was not happy with her not wanting to leave the relationship. Do you know how insane this is? Like that's actually oh gosh, that theory is gone out the window now, because he's dead, and the first thing you do is go straight to him. Why not just go to the swingers? Why, never mind. Let's move on, because they probably have a reason for that as well. So we might get to learn that later on. But I'm going to close off on this last testimony. I'm going to close off her testimony, and then we're going to go and give a quick summary of the McCann Stalker trial. So I'm just going to play her testimony in regards to the surveillance tapes that was on the Neighbours CCTV, where Monica was asking questions like, did you see the people's faces, and weird questions to ask. But let's go and watch.
What would they look like? What were they wearing?
You.
That if you did.
And when she first came in, you said that she asked certain questions.
She did.
And what were those things that she was asking you?
That if we can see any faces, any skin color, was it clear? Can you see it clearly? what they look like, what were they wearing. Like it was just boom, 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 question after each other, and we can understand why she was frustrated, but we were asked to go see it. We didn't do this out of any malicious reason.
Well, you were also interested in finding out who had murdered your brother.
Of course, yes.
Did you keep in touch with Monica after you returned to Canada after your brother's murder?
Yes, I did.
And did you speak with her every week?
Pretty much every week, yes.
Okay. And you already told us that you followed her Instagram account. In terms of the conversations that you had with the defendant after that date, was there a particular topic that seemed to come up every time you spoke with her?
Yes, it was always, it would start with, did you get any information from the police officer? Do they have any leads? Is there anything that they have any answers to? And she says no. And I would say, I want to call, I want to talk to them. And she would say, no, don't call them. I only want them talking to me. I don't want anybody calling. And she would explain to me that she would tell them all the time that she was going to be living on their front stoop if this insurance money didn't come in. She had to remove all these things that they were like, she had to get rid of the cleaning lady, the pool people, the gardener, and she was struggling with financials, and she was always troubled by financials, and the insurance company wasn't releasing her, and she was like out of breath sometimes trying to figure out how she's gonna get them to release her.
I am okay. Money troubles were asked about this. She testified to money troubles, but I didn't know it's something that she didn't testify to. And that is the Mustang. So she didn't give testimony in regards to whether she, the prosecution never asked questions in regards to whether she had seen Monica buy a Mustang or driving a Mustang or doing these things, which is kind of weird. I don't know if they're going to recall her back later on and then they're going to ask these questions. I'm actually very intrigued because you would think that that context going into this testimony about her needing to sell all of these things to get the insurance money, and yet we heard from Matthew Nurse, who said months later she was coming into the gym with a Mustang, brand new Mustang. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. But I'm gonna adjourn there I'm gonna stop the testimony there in regards to Mirella Sementilli, because we are going to continue on week 4 next week in regards to this trial. I cannot wait. I cannot actually wait. So I do need a lot more information about Baker. I don't know anything about Baker outside, in terms of outside reports, except just the fact that he was due to be sentenced. I think they brought that up during this case for the murder of Fabio Sementilli. So we know already that a Porsche was found. Apparently it belonged to Robert Baker. So there is that. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go straight into the McCann trial, and I'm going to just give a bit of a quick update. So Julia Wandel took the so for those that don't know about the McCann trial, we started coverage on episode 3. So if you want to get a bit more information about the background, you can go find it there. Before I continue on, shout out to Daria. Welcome welcome to the stream. Oh, God forbid she had to do our own work. Look, I don't know, you've probably watched this case, so I cannot wait to go straight into the to have people give their input about the Monica Sementilli trial. So yeah, I'm guessing you mean the housework, etc. So so next week we are I will be referencing a lot of these things, key points that I've gone into. But in regards to what we're talking about now, and I think this is where the McCann trial comes to an end, and it's a UK trial. So if you don't know the background of this, we did provide a more extensive background into how this stalker got to be and why she was stalking the McCanns. But quick recap is basically Madeleine McCann, who, massive story in the UK. She went missing when the family went on vacation at Praia de in Portugal, and they were staying at Praia de Luz Hotel, and yeah, she went missing. And fast forward to 2024, this woman claims to, well, 2023 really, she claims to be Madeleine McCann. There was a whole spectacle about it. Dr. Phil even interviewed her, and she has been stalking the parents since, and basically appeared at the parents' house saying, I am your daughter, take me back. And now she is going to give testimony at Leicester Crown Court. I did find a reliable service. I didn't want to, this is the only place that I found that has been going into the court daily. So yeah, anyway, let's move on. And she basically gave testimony in regards to let me just go on here. She left her studies to pursue a home personal journey. So that's why she said that she came to the UK, because she wanted to study criminology. And she says that she was brought up in Poland, which was Lubin. So sad. I need to go back to episode 3. I didn't know anything about the stalker. Yeah, it's all there. It's something that I throw in if I find a case that interests me that I couldn't cover, but I know but I know I'm getting reliable reports from the courtroom, so I'll throw it in here as a side kind of entree, if you will. But anyway, it's a very interesting case. Continuing on, questions were asked about her birth certificate, and she said that that our parents never provided her birth certificate. So she's saying that she believes that she's Madeleine McCann because her true parents did not provide the birth certificate that she was that she was born. And she called the local registry, and they told her that she wasn't adopted, which made her question even more. And she gave testimony about her not believing that the parents that she was supposedly born with in Poland, that they're not her real parents. She says, my mother has brown hair and brown eyes, my father too. I look different. If you look at the picture, it's the same eyes. Like, come on. But anyway, moving on. Toxic online risk. She says she looks online to find people who would abuse me. And she also testifies to mental health struggles. She says that she began therapy as a teenager because of self-harm and suicidal thoughts. She described extreme emotional problems. She says that she was abused at the age of 9 by a step-grandfather and not supported by her grandmother, who told her to tell no one. Her step-grandfather was jailed for abusing her. So that's... maybe, is that why she's doing all of this? That she's reliving a trauma? No idea. And she explains how therapy has reflected on her life. She also explains how she started beginning the journey on her lost identity. And she says that she believes that her parents were hiding something. So she began searching online for missing girls who could be her, and convinced she has been lied to about her own identity. This is just weird. So why would you just assume that it's mixing girls though? I don't know how you get to that point. But anyway, she calls to her father. She said that she phoned her father from the hospital, hoping to find out why she was in such a dark place, and she was searching for answers. And she explains more about, the missing girls, and then she started believing that she was actually adopted. So the idea here is either the parents had adopted her or the adopter had sold her to the parents. I can't get behind this crazy train. I don't know where this is going. I have no idea what she's trying to say, but apparently there is an adoption theory. One does online searches fit a theory that she wasn't brought up by her real parents at all, but she was an adopted child trapped in a life built on lies and silence. Okay. She started joining the Madeleine McCann communities, which was official Facebook pages dedicated to Madeleine McCann. There were a lot of people talking about and a lot of theories. Wendell told Juror that she first became aware of Madeleine McCann in June 2022 when she was in hospital. She began searching the missing persons database for children around her age. It's moving on. It's just coincidences and suspicions that drew her to the Madeleine McCann case. She says, "I just want to find out who I am." Wendell said discovering her abuser shared the same surname as her previous Madeleine suspect was a big factor in her focus on the case. So she believes that because the grandfather shares the same. Moving on. So that's the only person I'm guessing would be the abuser in this case, but I still don't understand how. Anyway, asked if she hoped to gain anything financially, Wendell said no, that she didn't have a financial motive, and she asked if she wanted to be if she was drawn to the case because of publicity. These questions was asked by the defense, not the prosecution, because it's her giving evidence, so it's a direct exam at this moment. She was asked what was the motivation for her to do all of this, and she says that the motivation was because she wanted to find herself, and she says that all the signs were pointing to Madeleine McCann, and she cited reasons for this belief, and it was based on the mark of her high that allegedly matches Madeleine. Doubts about her documents, her parents refusing to show her birth certificate, and limited childhood memories before the age of 9. So those were the reasons. She also says that she contacted the hospital, but the reason was because the police couldn't help her. So we went through that on the previous episodes, where the police were saying that she's not Madeleine McCann because they have DNA evidence that she's not Madeleine McCann. They showed the DNA evidence that it was unequivocally not her. So that's why, and then she started reaching out to the hospital. So let me just here it says try to cover every institution. It says, I just wanted to try everything, contact every institution I had in mind before getting in contact with the parents of Madeleine directly. And because all of those people are told her that she's not Madeleine, with facts, by the way, because that's happened, she then turned her attention to the parents because she really believed that it was Madeleine, because she was not going anywhere searching the institution. I mean, she says that she didn't want to give the family false hope. Julia Wendell told jurors that she contacted as many missing persons groups as possible before reaching out to the McCanns. I didn't want to give them false hope or cause them any distress. That's what you did, though. Like, that's what you did. She tried to cover all bases. She says, I did not want to contact Kate and Jay McCann until I contacted every single person I can before everything. She says that not surprised she says, if the police treated their daughter's case the way they treated me, I'm not surprised they didn't find their daughter. This is cold. This is cold. I still don't know why they didn't want to do DNA. They presented the DNA. They done it. They told you. We went through this on episode 4. They told you that they actually came in and testified that they told her that she was not Madeleine McCann, that the DNA showed that it was not Madeleine McCann. Moving on. She expected a very different police response. Wendell says she believed the police would investigate my case and take a statement and help me find out the truth. They did, though. I thought they would do the DNA test straight away. It was very confusing, but they did do the DNA test. Anyway, moving on. Let's move on. So she says, I never meant them any harm. I always defended them, and I even still defend them now. So she is using a theory that because she's building her case on the fact that because the police failed to find the daughter, so therefore they didn't help her, so it's their fault. And I'm actually the good guy here, because I'm defending the McCanns because they really did lose their daughter, and I am the daughter that they lost. Okay, man. All right. She says that the reason for her going public was in June 2022. I thought that the police would help, and after all this time, I realized that they would not. So at that time, I thought that journalists are here to tell the truth. So that's why she went public, and that's why she told people that she was that she was Madeleine McCann. Daria from MA says those poor parents, talk about being traumatized all over. Yeah, absolutely. Talk about being traumatized indeed. Because imagine losing your children, well, missing in this case, and then you have to deal with this nut job. I'm sorry, I'm calling it a nut job because I can't believe someone could see evidence and still believe. Like she was actually told by the police. Anyway, she says, if I'm not Madeleine, who am I? I cannot imagine how they feel. If I'm not Madeleine, then who am I? That's your problem, but you're not Madeleine. That is absolutely your problem. So I'm not gonna go into the personal impact, but she was not willing to accept any evidence that she was not Madeleine McCann. And then on day 14, something happens, and he says here that Wanda admits that she is not Madeleine, which is weird. So she says, I don't care about the publicity or money, as she reached out to friends of the McCann family. Julian Wandel to deny being driven by fame or profit. Please help me. I've tried everything to contact Jerry and Amelie. I don't care about any money or publicity. So she says that she's not a liar or attention seeker, and she says that she done all this because all of the avenues were closed. But I want to go in. She also said that she had received £400, which is around $550 or something like that, around that figure, or $450. I have no idea. But she says that it was to that she raised all this money to try and find a lawyer that would in Poland that will help try and prove her identity. So she let's move on. So she says that the DNA test before she went on Dr. Phil, that the DNA test never happened around that time. No DNA insert she filmed, so she never took DNA test around that time. I believe this is probably the cross-examination at this point. But let's I'm waiting for the part. Hold on. This is the I'm just waiting for the part where she actually admits that she's the Madeleine McCann, because that's the part I'm waiting for. So so she says here that the DNA match confusion encouraged Wandel. She says that the DNA results, however, she says we match. Let me start again. DNA expert told her we match very well. The DNA results, however, describe then matching very well, and this was a commercial preview, not a formal test. So there was no formal test made at all. But I want to get to I think it will be in day 15, but clickbait there. They didn't even give testimony about how she said that she's not Madeleine McCann. But anyway, so she says messages shows co-defendants Karen Sprague told McCann that Wandel hadn't really meant to name her Instagram I am Madeleine McCann. Okay, I believe that's all of it. So if there is any if there is any sort of update in regards to the verdict, I will provide it. I'm not gonna dive more into this. If I'm being honest with you, like, I did actually hold up. So because cross examination was there is not much I can glean from. It's just the reaffirming of the DNA test that was provided by the prosecution. We already went through all of it, so it will be redundant. And also just reading back the messages that was already played to the McCanns, and they're basically going through all of those things again. And she's just not conceding. She says that she is Madeline. So that's pretty much all of it. But if there's any verdicts on it, I would be happy to. I'll update as possible. So yeah. So before I do close off, I do have a bit of announcements to make. Like I do on the last stream. So I try to keep this under 2 hours. So that's why I'm kind of speeding through this one. But I am working on a video in regards to the Suzanne Murphy case, because I'm not sure if you've heard of what's happened. Is no more live streams. You can't cover. They're not letting the case be seen by the public because of YouTubers that has prejudiced the proceedings by. So I hate things like this, because I really wanted to really go through that trial in detail, but nonetheless, it's because of YouTubers that has affected how this case is going to be viewed by the public. So the judge had ruled that no live stream is gonna, and I'm going to dive in and release that video next week. I'm aiming for Wednesday, but that's the Murphy case that I'm looking into. I'm gonna, like I said, go into that on Wednesday. But on Thursday, I am interviewing. I'm doing a live stream with Emily C. Some of you may actually know who she is, but I'm going to be doing an interview with Emily C. and she is going to be going through a lot of the discourse in regards to she's going to be going through a lot of discourse in regards to the Karen Reed trial. So let me just go into so that you guys she's going to be doing a lot of discourse into Karen Reed trial, and I'm looking forward to having her on here. I love her channel. She has a channel. I'm gonna link it all below so that you guys can go check her out. And she also is on Twitter as well. So make sure you follow her. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be giving her yes, really. We are going to be discussing the Karen Reed trial, the untold story, because she has been. That's going to be on the 6th. Yeah, the 6th of which one? What month are we in? November. The 6th of November 2025. The 6th of November. So she'll be here on Thursday. I will announce it on the community post anyway tomorrow, and then we are gonna go through it. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for today's show. I'm happy for everyone that were here. Oh wow, amazing. I hope that it is a good stream for you, and you can enjoy your life celebrations on that day. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to see you there. But I'm looking forward to that stream for a number of reasons. I have always wanted to speak with Emily for in regards to just how she what inspires her really, because she's the most positive person I have a privilege of knowing, if I'm being honest with you. Very, very noble goals, very noble person, very principled person, which I really admire a lot. So I can't wait to speak with about this particular case. So I'm going to end the poll that we were doing. And because it's a three-way tie, I'm going to do the poll again on the next stream. So I'm going to keep doing this poll. If there's a tie anywhere, I'll just repeat until we get a proper answer. But it's good to know that people like to see Cochrane, Richie, and Behal, and maybe Melody Faris is, but I'll just do it all again. So until we get the answer, I'm not gonna stop. But but yeah, so the poll unfortunately ended in a three-way tie. So we are just gonna keep going next week. Anyway, I will just leave it there. Thank you so much, every single one of you, for tuning in. Make sure that you hit that like button if you have enjoyed or have received some kind of value from this stream. Also, do not forget to also share this stream with your friends and family. We are live every Sunday from 4 p.m. Eastern time. But for the purposes, I think the clocks fall back next week in the US. No, I'm not too sure if it's next week but 5 p.m. in that side, 5 p.m. Eastern time, but in the UK, 9 p.m. UK time. So also consider supporting the channel by becoming a member on the channel by hitting that join button on YouTube. And becoming a member of the channel. You get cool perks like exclusive exclusive videos, as well as emoji, depending on the tier that you are in. It will really help us out with what we're doing here. And also, like I said earlier, you can go and check out the website that we have, and it is Dr. Hines. Well, that used to be the old website. I'm so used to saying that, but nonetheless, it is ketchupcourt.info. It is ketchupcourt.info if you want to suggest a case for that you want us to cover outside of the case that you're voting for here. So if you have a case that I have not heard of at all, and you thought, hey, this could be a good idea, go and cover this, you can do so here. So those are the plugs. It's currently 6 p.m. Eastern time. So oh wow, so if it's 6:19 Eastern time, that means it is 4 p.m. So you guys are falling back then. Okay, so in that case, it's 4 p.m. Eastern time every Sunday. So we are back to normal. So but anyway, if you do want to support, if you do want to suggest a case, go check out the website, or the links are in description also for how you can support the channel. Anyways, I'll leave it there. I go by the name of Hines, your friendly neighborhood ketchup man, and thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Source on Order. And I'll see you next week, same time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Do not miss it. And we shall be continuing on with our coverage of the Monica Sementilli trial and giving updates on any cases that we find interesting that I think that you guys should know about. Take care and bye for now. Thank you everyone for tuning in for another Ketchup Court live stream. Make sure that you smash that like button as well as hitting that subscribe button to be notified of our future live streams. We go live regularly, bringing you case updates and recaps of ongoing trials, so make sure you hurry back on the next live stream. We also have more content on the channel that you can binge on. Check out the playlist that we have showcasing all of these contents. Without further, I go by the name of Hines, your friendly neighborhood ketchup man, and I'll see you back in court.